Morning out there in the internet universe. Very, very good of you to stop by. Oh boy, it's early. All right. Well, if I have a viewer, I think we ought to start the show, don't you? Think we should start the show? I think we should start the show. Are we ready to start the show? Oh, I feel like a grandpa. Oh, no. Now, many, many years ago, when I was 23, not that song. Live from the Crescent Moon Temple, it's the morning show with your host Tolinar. Ooh, if I can wake up. It's time to play the music, switch all the cameras on. It's time for the morning show and I'm going it alone. We'll quickly check the chat room. We've got one person home. It's time for the morning show, and I guess I'm on my own. Cue cameras. The host, the guest, the audience, it's what I'm here to be. I'm gonna need a cup of tea for this one. It all depends on me. The cat's sitting here meowing. It wants me to open the window. It's looking at me like I'm crazy. Probably am though. Oh, it's running. It doesn't want to deal with the morning show. And that's just how it goes. Today's the 8th moon, couple of days in. Last month was the 7th. The moon is very slowly rising from the new position. Somehow I got off track in the song. I gotta get back on mission. Like food processing, yes, it turns out the moons are based on months, more or less. The host, the guest, the audience, it's what I've got to be. There's nobody else out here. It all depends on me. I need to clean my desk some. It's just another day. There's far too many candy wrappers and they are in the way. The host, the guest, the audience, it's what I've got to be. Except for maybe that guy. It all depends on me. But that's nothing unusual. It's just another day. If I want to make my life great, I got to do it my own way. Today on the morning show, I will briefly review the moons and the fact that I have 36 of them to go, being the sage of 36 moons, as well as talk about the value of laughter. That sounds fun. Laughter has that value, right? 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 I hope. I ain't got too much else going for me over here. Laughter has value, right? All right. Today's morning, does fake laughter have any value? Today's morning show is brought to you by the letter L and the number 7, which look really similar, and by viewers like Newbie, who is hanging out. How you doing? Okay. Let's get to breakfast. Sounds good. Let's get to breakfast. Let me to the table. I'm sort of walking around with the mic in my hands before I get dressed. Today is the 20th of January, and it is a lovely day, if foggy. Unfortunately, the fog was so thick where we live that we didn't get to see the incredible aurora borealis last night. Oh, I hear it was a dream to watch. Gorgeous, with so many colors, so much detail and radiance, and that's really loud for background music. We're gonna get that down. We're gonna, I'm always fighting with the levels on my music. I'm gonna deal with that at some point, have properly leveled music, so it's just automatically the right levels, but we're just doing it. Yeah. A lot of nice pictures from around the world of people who experience the vivid joy of the aurora borealis. No, mother, it's just the northern lights. Anyways, we are gonna instead get some lassi this morning, get some nice breakfast yogurt. I do one of those. I think I can make this stuff triple sec flavored if I needed to. Figured out what I'm doing with this now. Got this down. Very nice. Laughter helps us diffuse stress more than anything else. That has a lot of positive effects. The body actually heals better and is stronger while it has strong management of its stress levels. Oy, that's good. So, it's very easy to say, oh, laughter, that's just joking around being a goofball, right? We actually assess a lot of things through laughter. Laughter is very important to humanity. Laughter is a way of, first off, parsing the world. Laughter is inherent to understanding, because to be able to laugh at a situation, you must realize it is absurd, which means you must be able to correctly extract it from reality. Children start off struggling with laughter because they don't fully understand it. They understand the joy, but they don't understand humor. The first concept of humor is usually a poop joke or something equally tasteless, but ultimately represents enjoying the absurdity of reality. Now, at first, they use humor which offends other people and elicits unusual or funny reactions from others. The adults, who are normally so very serious and focused and doing things that are not very childlike, suddenly become very childlike and animated and emotional when you use this sort of humor. So children have a tendency to latch onto it at first. But soon after, let me put my mic down to make tea. Soon after this, I'm going to get some Earl Grey. It's a good morning for that. It's a very great morning indeed. All ready to go. Okay, and it goes. We come to realize there is much more highbrow humor to be had. When something first really strikes us as funny, it's because we have realized that something is absolutely ridiculous, something absurd. And the more absurd something is and the closer it is to reality, the funnier it is. When somebody who is psychotic laughs, they are laughing at how absurd reality is, right? Their idea of absurd reality is different from our idea of absurd reality, but they are still laughing at reality's absurdity. In this case, they might be laughing at the fact that they can get away with what they're doing, or laughing at all of these other things, but ultimately, laughter roots in the same thing. People are laughing at the absurdity of reality. Now, sometimes this absurdity comes down to unusual coincidences like puns or other awful wordplay jokes, right? That's right. Somebody's getting a can of olives and you ask if they took all of them. That's absurd. Very good. Yes, okay. That is a pun. So, first and foremost, laughter helps us indicate that we have a firm grip on reality, because you wouldn't actually get very offended and say, no, I didn't take all of the cans. There are still lots back there. What are you so worried about? Accusing me of taking all of the cans. Very often, things that would otherwise be difficult for us to parse, offensive and unfair behavior, people behaving in very selfish fashion, or similar disastrous consequences to reality, simply become humorous when we accept that, one, it's not actually that bad, and two, the absurdity of the situation is hilarious. We laugh at the world because it isn't that bad, or perhaps because it once was, but it isn't anymore. We laugh because we accept that the world is full of difficulties and miscomforts, and we can rise above it. And one of the ways we can rise above it is by making fun of it. Most people don't make fun of the Holocaust, but the people who do tend to be the ones who survived it, because they are the ones who have earned the ability. They're the ones who passed through the flames and stand on the other side, scarred, burned, or whatever have you. They're the ones who endured it. They're the ones who have the right to laugh at how ridiculous their situation is. Anyways, let me get just a bit more my yogurt here. So yes, demonstrating grip on reality is one of the major benefits of laughter. And it's very good for your health, believe it or not. Laughing activates a lot of power cells in the body all at once. In addition to reducing stress levels and improving mood, which all have positive effects on the body's outcome. Laughter has directly positive effects on T cells, improving disease response. It can even make it easier to survive cancer. I am not kidding. Laughter is so powerful in terms of overall effectiveness as a person, that being willing to smile and laugh about the world simply makes you tougher to it. A person who finds no humor in reality will fall and scuff their knee and worry about infection. A person who can laugh at reality will fall and bounce off the ground and curse at gravity for how terrible it is, and then laugh at the entire mess. And yeah, maybe they'll need to deal with infection too, but they're at least having fun with it. You only really get to go around once, and there's no one who ever survives being alive anyway. So having examined laughter and its no, I need that. Give me that mic. Having examined laughter and its unique value to humanity, you had some questions about the moon system. Back in June of last year, I had a premonition that my life was going to change. Very shortly thereafter, I experienced the first moon. My parents had to sell their farm where I was an overlord. And it was mainly due to property taxes, and I had to figure out a new place to live. Through all of second moon, I was finding a new home. During third moon, I was in the process of moving. Then in the fourth moon, I became powerfully sick. I spent the fifth moon in a very dark place, and in the sixth moon, I mostly spent recovering from that. And the seventh moon, I have been doing my morning show. Now it's time for the eighth moon. I need to start looking downfield. Whereas I spent most of seventh moon developing habits of running my morning show and getting up and talking to everyone, I have other habits I need. I need to have my workout habits. I need to improve my food processing situation, and I need to start preparing long term to become an overlord again in 2 years' time, because only 28 moons remain. Even I don't know what will happen when the Sage of 36 Moons reaches the end of the 36th moon. Hopefully I'll get to move into my new place right then and there. But the world is a confusing and complicated place. So I don't know. Someday I'll explain the source of this unusual prophecy of 36 moons. That may prove to be absolutely nothing at all. Or it could prove to be very influential to my life. Either way, having even an arbitrary goal can improve your effectiveness as a human. I intend to use this. So in the coming days, there's going to be a lot of... there is a lot of similarity between a landowner and an overlord, okay? The difference between them is acceptance of responsibility. That's like saying there's a difference between a food owner and a chef, okay? Let's take this opportunity to review the question, what is an overlord? Well, why don't we start by prefacing that with another question. What is a ruler? A ruler is a person who is clever and capable and attempts to generate wealth, success, and efficiency by making smart decisions for a government, right? In order to remain in power as a ruler, you mainly spend all of your time amassing power and then dispersing that power to other people who gatekeep that power for you. Why do you have to do this? Because ultimately, a ruler tries to control other people, right? An overlord seeks to do all the same things while only controlling themselves. Developing society, amassing power, and all these other things, but while only in control of themselves. To expand on my analogy of people with food in their kitchen versus being a chef, overlords actively seek to Oh, did I have a connection hiccup? Doggone it. Am I back yet? Am I back yet? Looks like I had a connection hiccup. Are we back? Okay, we're back connected. Hi there. Is there anyone even out there anymore? Whew. You may need to reboot the stream. Just let me know when we're around again. What was the last thing you heard out there? Oh boy. What was I going on at? All right. We will figure out where I'm picking up at. Right. So rulers try to keep control of society, right? An overlord only seeks to control themselves. By controlling exactly one person, your power network doesn't have to be dispersed. You're not liable to anyone else. You're not responsible for anyone else. You don't answer to other people. And so you can select your own morals and decide what is properly right for you. You can choose to act on your own strength. It's similar to the analogy of having food in your house versus being a chef. Not everyone who has food in their house is a chef. And not everyone who owns land is an overlord. An overlord seeks to merge an economy with an ecology in order to produce power. And It's easier than it sounds, but at the same time, there's a lot of complicated parts to it. The important thing is an overlord becomes an exceptionally powerful person very quickly because the land tends towards abundance, especially where I live. But the government does not necessarily like a person who possesses a lot of power. So they will often seek to reduce the power a person has via hook or crook. An proper overlord is not going to allow that to happen. They will help maintain control of their power. Fundamentally, to be an overlord, you don't have to own land, but it's very, very hard. It really does make it a lot easier to own land, become an overlord. You have to really understand the network of energy and connections that you're working with. You're going to become an overlord of land you don't own. But they're not exactly synonyms. A lot of people who have land don't even curate it. They just let the power... Right, well, I'm not talking abundance of oil. Oil would actually indicate a lack of abundance. No, abundance tends to refer to something else. Most ecosystems carry an abundance of life and productivity, and this can be spurred onward by a person who knows what they're doing. Perhaps the person with a career closest to that of an overlord is a modern farmer. Those people also tend to attempt to produce as much power as possible from the land, but they do so by selling products into the system. This is something that an overlord can do, but is not required to do. There are better ways to produce power. Drilling for oil would prove to be a mistake, and a costly one at that, for a number of reasons. First off, let's say the land contained an abundance of oil. This would be a good indicator you want to move land, but it's fine. We'll continue on this train of thought. And you are going to drill for that oil. By drilling for oil, you will drive away the local wildlife and poison the local environment. This will inhibit the amount of plants and animals that you have to work with, damage your network until there's much less life on your land. While you may have oil that you can sell, once the world knows that you have oil, the world will seek to take that oil from you. People will attempt to subsidize your land, claim the parts that have oil. The government will seek to control your oil and how much you sell and when you sell it, because they don't want you diluting the market. Your good fortune would probably earn you quite a bit of money and way too many problems to count. It's a rookie mistake to think that by only exploiting an environment, you can make lots of money and become wealthy and then happy and successful like that. Strip mining, deep earthworks, harvesting all the natural resources present on the land. People have tried to do this for a very long time. You should heed the lesson of the Lorax. The key is to keep the balance. Not just your economy, but also your ecology. The strength of the land maintains itself, but only if you don't destroy it. In fact, it is within your power to support it. By balancing your approach between economy and ecology, you not only ensure the land continues to produce for itself, but can produce for you too. The planet is strong. There is enough to go around, but only if you don't take everything. So the key is to balance. Too much economy, and the ecology collapses, and the source of your power dries up. Too much ecology, and you're going to struggle to stay alive due to no economy. You have to get the balance right, and that is part of an overlord's job, getting the balance right. There are many, many, many activities that a person can engage in, and I'll map those out as we get closer to 36 moons, one at a time. Things a person can do to maximize a piece of land and become a proper overlord, to the point that the rest of the world sees your power and wants to take it from you. Because that's the easiest way to know that you've made it as an overlord. When a government starts angling to take your power away, you officially have enough power to be considered an overlord. Overlords have always been around in society, and they always tend to be the enemy of the government. That's why they have such a bad rap. Because the government is more than happy to publish propaganda saying how awful overlords are, when in fact overlords are just trying to exist. Overlords are simply maintaining their own selves, but a government that can't control the power that it is supposed to control isn't an effective government. So when a huge upswing of power comes out of nowhere, the government starts off pretending that it's okay with that and that that's nice and that's neat and everybody loves it. But then as this swell of power grows, they will seek to curb it actively. Like, oh no, we don't actually want an industrial complex springing up there. We don't actually want a huge concentration of money out in the forest. This isn't something that we signed up for. We had no idea you were going to do this. We thought you were going to stick some little shack out there, nobody would ever notice. What the hell is this? You're influencing the ecosystem for miles. And while that influence is not necessarily negative, it is influence we don't have. Governments are all about controlling power, and they will seek to control an overlord's power too. You must be cognizant of this and be ready to handle it, or you'll run into all sorts of trouble. Let me get some more. No oil would indicate especially challenging land. Usually the most abundant thing on the land that I tend to live on is blackberries. People think, blackberries? What the heck, man? Those are just weeds. Oh, so you say. The blackberry is fundamental. Let's talk about blackberries. Blackberries, in particular alpine blackberries, form huge, massive, netty shrubs that are pretty much impassable to all but the smallest creatures. They do provide shelter to those small creatures, though. The smallest links of the food chain can be retained because they can hide in blackberry meshes. These huge mats of blackberries that spring up. Why is the blackberry so successful, the Himalayan in particular? The Himalayan blackberry is successful because yeah, something like that. So blackberry mounds, blackberries are successful because they have adapted to the most powerful species on the planet, humans. Whenever we cut open space, blackberries cheerfully claim some of it. Oh, you're going to cut a road here? Let me get alongside that. You want to clear a field? I'll take some of that, please and thank you. You want to put up a barn? Let me just lean on that barn. It's nice and warm. I want to park right here. And the blackberry offers carrot and stick in the same partition. Yes, we're a thorny, impassable mass, and if you try to uproot us, you're probably not going to actually kill us all the way. But we also offer fruit. Himalayan blackberries are some of the most nutritious fruit on the planet. Rival to the goji and the acerola, it is loaded with antioxidants and omegas. It's extremely healthy, especially if you swallow the seeds, which are full of really healthy oils. The micronutrients in blackberries are so dense and so effective that provided a man had regular potatoes and blackberries, he could survive. That's all you would need, potatoes and blackberries. And blackberries, these are the same blackberries that you see everywhere. Everywhere. These are the same blackberries that are everywhere. At least where I live. It represents the nature of the universe. This world is laden with power. Everywhere you look, there are huge sources of it just sitting around. But people dream of ridiculous, absurd power. People dream of things they can laugh at, like finding a well of oil on their property. And they don't see the power right in front of them. The huge mass of extremely valuable food that's already there that no one harvests. Nobody picks all the blackberries. No, that wouldn't happen because people are wrapped up on experiences, positive experiences. The truth is, the food market could be crashed, but we can thank the diversity of society that doesn't happen. There are people who back in the day all used to be farmers. Back in the 1700s, 1600s, 1500s, every family farmed because if you didn't, you starved. Money wasn't reliable enough. This is a very modern problem. People had to produce food. If you didn't, you didn't eat. You could become a craftsman, maybe, or build houses, or be a laborer, and that would earn you enough money to buy food. But food purchase was expensive, and there were a lot of things you needed to spend money on. And so making your own food was critical. Unfortunately, back then, land was inexpensive, but the labor to work it was costly, which meant you were almost definitely doing everything yourself. It was a different time and a different challenge. Nowadays, the challenge is simply realizing what is in front of your face. The world has become so complex and convoluted. People don't understand what is available to them. That's one of the things I plan to change on my show. I'm going to teach food processing, which will teach you how to take the things that are of low cost, of abundance, and not only produce them yourself, but process them. So when the prices go down in the market, you can make the most of it and very easily claim high quality foods, things that you want to eat. Now, when I say high quality foods, I don't mean like a very shiny banana. No, I mean things like making your own cold cereal, producing your own frozen food, everything from sorry, I've got a banana in my brain this morning, I swear. This is what I mean by reality is absurd. Things like bananas or okay, hang on. Cold soups and things, canned foods. All the things you purchase from grocery stores can be manufactured. You can make them yourself. You can make your own tortillas. You can make your own refried beans. You can make your own English muffins. You can make your own curry. You can make your own curry powders. Every single aspect of it can be done yourself and at a pittance of the cost. There are two things you require. One is the knowledge, and two is the effort. If you mix those together, you can make anything you can think of for the most part. Actually, making Coke is pretty tricky, but I think I've got a lock on that too. So, as you might imagine, now let me get some more yogurt. This yogurt I'm drinking, by the way, is yogurt I made myself. Mm. I made half and half French vanilla yogurt, and it's quite delicious. It's very easy to make. How much this yogurt cost me to make? Well, I had to buy the bottle of syrup, and since I used about half a bottle of syrup making this gallon batch of yogurt, the syrup cost about $4 for the gallon. Then I bought a gallon of milk. That cost $3. And I bought one yogurt. Cost about $1. And that's stretching it. So I am $8 in on a 1 gallon jug of yogurt. Now, if you price out yogurt, a gallon of yogurt is probably going to set you back $14, $15, $16. And that's on the low end. So, how much money did I generate just by doing it myself? Not a bad amount. Not bad at all. And I can adjust this any way I want. I can change which syrup I use. I can use long gun syrup. I can use triple sec. If I use triple sec syrup, then my costs drop by $1 because that's not as expensive. It's not as popular. And when I get to making my own syrup, which is on the list, then the cost will fall further. That $4 bottle of syrup is going to cost pennies once I figure out how to make it on my own. In which case, I won't be getting a $14 product for $8. I'll be getting it for $5. There's a limit to these things. When it comes to producing raw ingredients, you're pretty much on your own. You can grow it yourself or you can have a cow, but these represent significant hurdles of responsibility. It can get heavy managing that sort of thing. So, you can be at the mercy of the cost of your raw ingredients. Past that, though, it can be incredibly easy to make this stuff. Yummy. So, let me go get my tea. I grew the Camellia sinensis, by the way. All the tea in the world comes from the Camellia sinensis plant. But it grew so big and heavy, and I had to leave it in the pot. So I didn't bring it with me. I will have to start again. I learned a lot about the conditions that the camellia likes. I can probably grow a whole bunch of them. I suspect that I'll make it here with a little bit of cajoling, a little babying. You see, Camellia sinensis is hardy to 8. But plant hardiness is not as simple as one number. Plants adapt. They want to live. Nature is harsh. So, if I can help them survive their first few years and make them bigger. So, Camellia is an entire genus of plant. Camellia sinensis is just one type of plant. That's right. You've tried it, haven't you? The camellia is just a plant that grows. Now, I never harvested the leaves off of my tea plant. I could have. I smelled them once. I'm like, oh, that is tea in there. But because I didn't want to hurt my plant, it was a fragile potted plant, and there were actually 2 of them. Unfortunately, one of them died. I got them around the same time that I married my wife. And one of them lived and one of them died. I wish I'd taken that as an omen. Because now I'm divorced. My wife is nowhere to be found. And I'm toughing it out on my own. Remarkable how things work like that sometimes. Now I will take my tea. There's the cat. How are you? You gonna jipe it? What is it, Mana? Cat's not willing to talk while I'm on the mic. He's like, I don't think so, freak. You're trying to turn me into a spectacle. I'm not forgiving. Yes. Yes. You're lollicating around. Don't you give it. Oh, you're just cat. All right, fine. Cat says, have one tiny comment. Anyways, sorry about that. Yep, you can grow your own tea and ferment it. I mostly just do food processing. So I take tea and then I work it around until I've got something that I like to drink and I go with that. And then I add energy supplements to it. I put L-theanine in my tea to help me concentrate. So over the next 3 days, which I have off, starting this evening, I'll be playing a little bit of Blueprints. I think I've got one of the solutions to the gallery puzzles. I have one more solution to work up. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to figure it out. We're going to get that gallery puzzle if it reappears. But then past that, I'm going to do some workshopping. I have some real world things to take care of. I'll probably disappear at some point for that. But, yeah. Just going to do some systemic upgrades. We'll see how it goes. I'm kind of waiting on art from one person. I've got some music that I may take care of tonight. Do some sound creation. I want to see if I can get some good stuff there.
Hello? I have this
All right. I think I've gone over most of everything. Did you have any questions out there in the audience you want to talk about? Any special? What's cooking in your universe type stuff? What's going on? The kids say, what is good? All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and call the show here then. All right. Thank you very much. And that's going to be the morning show. And I'll see you next time. Oh, hang in there. You can make it.